Wayne Rooney has backed Mauricio Pochettino to Man United and also slammed the signing. Very critical of the signing of Cristiano Ronaldo. A very intriguing night on Monday Night Football, where the current Derby manager and, of course, England and Man United legend Wayne Rooney really gave his thoughts and his feelings on a number of subjects across football. And, of course, Man United's current predicament was always going to come into question. It was always going to be a discussion point. It was always going to be on the agenda. I want to look at two of the biggest points that he made last night. I want to get your take. I want your views and opinions. Please leave your comments below. Make sure you're hitting that subscribe button, hitting the bell notification button as well on the Terrace. Also, check out the QR code next to me as well, where you can get up to 65% off official football kits and football merchandise right about now. I think one of the best things to do is, this is from Twitter actually. This is the clip on Rooney on talking about Cristiano Ronaldo, which I want to speak about first of all, and we'll play in and just show you exactly what it is that he said.
About another of your old Manchester United teammates, Ronaldo. Now, Jamie said right from the start of this season he felt it was a mistake really to bring him back to Manchester United. What's your take on that? Has it worked?
You'd have to say no at the minute. I think he scored goals. He scored important goals in the Champions League early on in the season. He scored, obviously, the hat-trick against Tottenham. But I think if you look into the future of the club, you have to go with younger, hungry players to do the best to lift Manchester United over these next 2 or 3 years. And obviously, Cristiano is getting on a bit. He certainly, obviously, isn't the player he was when he was in his 20s. So, and that happens. That's football. But he's a goal threat. But I think the rest of the game, I think they need more, and they need young, hungry players.
It's interesting what Wayne Rooney said there, because a lot of people agree with Wayne that Ronaldo's goal threat has still been there for large parts of the season. 18 goals, I think it is, in all competitions. In the Champions League, especially through them group stages, he was absolutely pivotal for Man United. I've seen a lot of Cristiano Ronaldo supporters get at Wayne Rooney. So he's older than you, you're washed, you weren't at his level, you're jealous, you don't know what you're talking about, blah, 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 blah. And I've got to look at it and say to myself, I understand exactly where Wayne Rooney is coming from. Cristiano Ronaldo is still a threat, but football has become more athletic. It's become faster. The propensity to and requirement to press from the front, defend from the front, has become so much more prevalent. Less and less now are you seeing these players that have free roles. And Ronaldo, in his pomp at Man United, in his pomp at Real Madrid, I'm not saying he didn't track back. I'm not saying he didn't help out defensively. But for large parts of the games, he could be, and I don't want to call him a passenger because he's been one of the most potent and deadly football players in the history of the game. However, he was very much able to drift in and out, float left, float right, kind of stay in pockets, waiting for counterattacks, etc. Football has kind of changed now in the way a lot of the systems operate and a lot of managers operate, where you need every player in that team to defend from the front, to press at the right times, to be compact and allow very little space for your opponents. Winning the ball back in the opening 10 seconds of a transition has become a key component for the most successful teams across Europe. Erik ten Hag is linked to being the next Manchester United manager, and that is a big fundamental part of his philosophy, winning that ball back quickly. Ralph tried to instill that at United when he arrived and has subsequently failed. Some will look at Ralph's ability to coach it and make his players understand it as being the issue. Others will look at the overall quality of the player. Now, pressing isn't so much a quality, but a physical attribute. And United have too many slow players or too many old players to be able to deliver that on a regular basis. When Cavani starts, though, he's older, but he has that energy still. He still has that movement. By the way, he's 2, 3 or 4 years younger than Cristiano Ronaldo. So there's a lot of time. It's a lot of time, really. In the twilight of your career, 33, 34 to 37 is a long time, and the body can change a lot in that period. I think Wayne Rooney pulls on some important elements there, if I'm being absolutely honest. And I don't think Wayne Rooney sort of can be looked at and overly... And I say overly criticized for that. I think he's right that the signing hasn't worked how we all thought. Now, that isn't because Ronaldo's a bad player. It's all the circumstances, all the situations rolled into one. But it hasn't worked. And the reason we know it hasn't worked is this, and it isn't all on Ronaldo. I think Ronaldo's age and the changing of managers has played a part in that. But the simple fundamental facts of the matter remain and are key here. When he was signed, people expected him to push us over the line to win trophies and challenge for the Premier League at the very least. We're sitting 7th in the league. The signing of him, the signing of Varane, the signing of Sancho, the renewal of Bruno's contract, the loans of certain players in and out, rather than in. None of these things have worked. Rooney's a question. Ronaldo's a question that comes up because he's famous. No decision that Man United have made in the past 12 months, 24 months, 48 months, 5 years, 9 years has actually worked. Giving Rooney a new deal in summer of 2013 didn't work. Hiring Moyes, sacking Moyes didn't work. Hiring Jose, sacking Jose didn't work. Signing Pogba didn't work. Signing Zlatan didn't work. Nothing has worked because we haven't challenged for a title, haven't won a Premier League, haven't looked potent in the Champions League for 10 years. Nothing has worked. So I don't think Wayne Rooney is off key at all with this, and he is right. And Ralph himself has said it. This club needs players with high ability, with hunger, and the want to develop. And what ticks the box a lot on those types of players is young, quality talent. I also want to take a look at what Wayne Rooney said about Mauricio Pochettino, because it does appear very much that he is backing Poch to be the next manager.
Do you agree with his assessment, Ralph Rangnick, that it could take 2 or 3 transfer windows to get Manchester United into a better place where they're challenging again?
Absolutely. I think for Manchester United not to be challenging.
I just want to stop him for a second there. And I think what's key here is I agree with Ralph Rangnick, 2 to 3 years to challenge. But what we need to see straight away is a system and a style and that progression. That will give fans that patience. There's no doubt about it. I'm sick and tired of seeing this. Well, he needs 3 or 4 windows before we can even see the direction of which he's going in. He being the new manager.
I think they'd want the season to stop now, if it could, and forget about Champions League, because they're not going to compete next year in the Champions League if they qualify for it. I think they have to rebuild the squad, rebuild everything around the first team, around the club, to make sure they put themselves in a position.
And he's right there again. Now, you don't have to agree with everything Rooney said last night about things on certain players. I think he's being respectful at times, but he is true. I want to be in the Champions League, but I am fearful that we're not going to be able to compete. I completely get where he's coming from.
In 3 years' time, 2-3 years' time, they can actually go and challenge again for the Premier League.
Wayne, you mentioned in terms of rebuilding the squad, but the first thing they have to sort out who the new manager is. There's been a lot of talk that it could be Pochettino or Ten Hag, or there could be someone else out there. Who do you think's most suited to Manchester United?
I think Pochettino has done it in the Premier League. He knows the Premier League. He's got at Tottenham, he brought a lot of young players through. At Southampton as well, he brought a lot of young players through. So if I'm choosing from one of them two, that's who I'd choose. I'll go with Pochettino. And
see, the thing is, that's where I disagree with Wayne Rooney. This whole Prem proven thing is crazy to me. And I'd love to have been in that room. I would love to have been able to challenge this in a polite way, not in a Twitter sometimes. Oh, you're waffling, you're chatting rubbish. And no one would ever talk to Wayne Rooney's face like that. Let's have it absolutely right. This Prem proven thing is a myth. Patrick Vieira, look at his first season. He wasn't Prem proven. Graham Potter at Brighton, he wasn't Prem proven. So I'm giving you some examples of lower down the echelons of people that are doing well, as an example. But Pep Guardiola wasn't Prem proven. Jurgen Klopp wasn't Prem proven. Antonio Conte wasn't Prem proven. Fergie wasn't Prem proven. Jose Mourinho wasn't Prem proven. The amount of managers, Antonio Conte, when he arrived at Chelsea, wasn't Premier League proven. The amount of managers who haven't been Premier League proven that have won it or that have done well at smaller clubs is unprecedented. Of course, there are lots of managers who join Premier League teams without Premier League experience that fail. But there's also a lot of managers with UK and Premier League experience that also fail. I just think that logic is, it's almost like it's like a fallacy that's drummed into people's heads. It's this notion of, certain foreign players can't handle the cold, rainy weather in England. You do like, oh yeah, where does he play now? Oh, Italy. You do realize in some parts of Italy, players have got to wear like thick, tight type trousers during the winter because it's so cold, colder than most places in England. It's never about the weather. It's never about the rain. It's never about the food in London or the food in Manchester. Really why people don't settle in the UK. Climate is never the issue. It's always about speed of play within the league. Is that suited to their style of play as a footballer? The same as some tennis players are potent and deadly on grass, but less so on hard court. Some are better on clay than they are on grass. The GOATs, can do it across all of those metrics in that sport. And I think that climate fallacy about certain players, can you do it on a cold, rainy night in Stoke, is very much a fallacy like a manager being Premier League proven. Now, a player having played in the Premier League versus a player who hasn't, there's less of a risk that they're going to foul because we know they can do it in this league. But that isn't still a foregone conclusion. So I totally understand. Listen, Wayne Rooney, I thought we spoke very well on most subjects last night. There's a few things I disagreed with. Lingard ain't a young player. I don't think McTominay's done very well at all. I get his point around Maguire, although I wouldn't go as far as to say as world class, but he definitely looks better in an England team. Again, in a system that suits him, he's a very good player. And that's what's key for Man United. Picking the right manager and giving him the right players to make that system work. Why has go back to the original point here. Why has Cristiano Ronaldo been a flop? Because the style of football that he can play now at 37 isn't conducive with what the team is trying to play. We are consistently at United putting square pegs into round holes, and it must stop. Remember, today we are sponsored by Kitbag. Scan that QR code now to check out their website and take a look at a lot of their range, all the official kits and training gear for every Premier League team. In fact, pretty much every team across Europe you can find on there. So go and check that out right now, people. Until next time, take care. Goodbye. God bless. And we'll see you soon. Thank you.